You know, everyone's talking about how sluggish the housing market is right now. But what if I told you there's one company that's not just surviving, it's absolutely exploding? Today, we're doing a deep dive into the Real Brokerage, a tech company that's shaking up the real estate world and gaining market share like crazy. We're going to figure out exactly how they're pulling it off.
So that really is the million-dollar question for this whole explainer, isn't it? In this environment with high interest rates and fewer homes being sold, how in the world is one company, REAX, not just treading water, but growing at an absolutely explosive pace? Let's unpack their entire model and find out. All right, here's our game plan. First up, we'll look at their totally new business model. Then, we'll get into the secret sauce, their agent-centric growth engine. After that, we'll see how they stack up against the big dogs, check out their insane growth numbers, talk about the risks, and finally, we'll peek into the future and see what's on the horizon for 2026.
Okay, let's dive right into part one. We've got to understand the foundation here, the model that makes the Real Brokerage so different from, well, pretty much everyone else.
So think about real estate for a second. For decades, it's been dominated by the traditional guys. You know, these huge brokerages with fancy, expensive offices and really rigid old-school commission plans. Well, the Real Brokerage just flips that entire script. They run a super lean virtual model, and that's the key. It slashes their costs, and they pass all those savings right back to their agents with way better pay and even a chance to own a piece of the company.
So this term, cloud brokerage, is absolutely central to understanding them. What does it mean? Basically, the entire company lives online. There are no brick-and-mortar offices. Everything, from managing a home sale to getting training or support, it all happens on their digital platform. And this isn't just a cool tech feature. It's a massive strategic advantage that lets them keep their costs incredibly low.
Now let's get into part two, because this is how they turn those cost savings into their primary weapon for growth, this incredibly powerful, agent-focused engine.
Okay, this right here, this is the core of it all. This is their pitch to agents, and man, it's a good one. They take all that money they save from being virtual and pour it into an offer that's just tough to say no to. The 85-15 split is already really good, but the real game changer, that low $12,000 annual cap. Think about it. Once an agent pays that much into the company, they keep 100% of their commissions for the rest of the year. You add stock awards and revenue sharing on top of that, and, well, you can see why it's a magnet for talent.
And this creates this amazing flywheel effect. It just feeds itself. Step one, the amazing pay and benefits attract a ton of top-performing agents. Step two, all those new agents start closing deals, which drives a huge increase in sales volume. And then, step three, with all that scale, they can start offering other profitable services like mortgage and title, which, you guessed it, makes the whole platform even more attractive to agents. And the wheel just keeps on turning, faster and faster.
But of course, Real isn't the only company trying to shake things up. So for part three, let's see how they really stack up in what is a very, very crowded field.
Okay, their closest competitor is another big cloud-based company, eXp Realty. But when you put them side by side, the numbers kind of speak for themselves. Real offers a better commission split, their cap is $4,000 lower, which is a huge deal, and maybe most importantly, there are 0 monthly fees. Compare that to eXp's $85 a month. For any agent who's doing good business, that all adds up to a lot more money in their pocket at the end of the year. And would you look at that? You can see the results of that better offer right here. This chart lays out the agent growth rates for 2025, and it's not even close. eXp's growth was basically flat. Compass did pretty well at about 19%, but the Real Brokerage, they just blew everyone away, growing their agent count by a massive 31%. That's not just a number on a chart. That is proof that their model is winning in the real world.
That crazy growth rate brings us right into part four, where we're going to look at the hard data behind this incredible story.
The main number here is just wow. For the full year of 2025, the Real Brokerage pulled in $2 billion in revenue. Billion with a B. To put that in perspective, this shows they have reached serious scale. This isn't some little startup anymore. We're talking about a major force in the industry.
But honestly, what's even more impressive is the speed of that growth, a 56% jump in revenue year over year. Now remember, this was happening when high interest rates were hitting the brakes on the entire housing market. To grow like this in that kind of environment, well, it's almost unheard of. And where does it all come from? It all comes back to the agents. By the end of 2025, their network had swelled to almost 32,000 agents. That right there is the engine that's driving all that revenue and all those market share gains we just saw. You know, a big piece of this puzzle is the leadership team. You've got the CEO, Tamir Poleg, who sets the vision, and the president, Sharon Srivatsa, who makes it happen. But check this out. The most interesting name here might be Vicky Bartholoma. She's a director who used to be the president at their biggest rival, EXP. She helped them grow from 500 agents to 15,000. Having that kind of experience and that inside knowledge of the competition is a huge, huge advantage.
And if we look at who owns the company, it's a really healthy mix. Big institutional investors like BlackRock and Vanguard own about 43%, which is a big vote of confidence from Wall Street. But what's really important is that insiders, the leadership team, still own a solid 19%. That means their own money is on the line right alongside the shareholders.
Okay, but no company is perfect and no story is all sunshine and rainbows. So let's shift gears for part 5 and talk about the very real risks and headwinds that the Real Brokerage is facing.
The company definitely isn't immune to what's happening in the broader market. Here's a direct quote from their CFO, Ravi Jani, from the last earnings call. He's saying that crazy weather and snowstorms meant a slow start to the year. It's a really clear reminder of just how much their business is tied to what's happening out there in the world. Yeah, that short-term stuff points to the 3 big risks everyone is watching. First, they are super sensitive to the housing market. If interest rates go up and fewer people buy homes, their revenue gets hit. Simple as that. Second, the fight for agents is an all-out war. The competition to get and keep the best agents is absolutely brutal. And finally, the big one, profitability. Even with all that incredible revenue growth, they've historically lost money. So turning all that growth into actual consistent profit, that's the next big mountain they have to climb.
So, what's the plan to climb that mountain? Well, that brings us to our last section, Part 6, the 2026 horizon. What's next?
Their game plan for 2026 is crystal clear. It's all about using their massive agent network. They're going hard on growing their mortgage and title businesses, they're beefing up their AI assistant, Leo, to help agents work smarter, and they're pushing to get more agents to use their fintech platform, the Real Wallet.
And this big push into these other services, that's their direct answer to the profitability question. Why? Because things like mortgage and title have way, way higher profit margins than just processing commissions. It's still a pretty small piece of the pie, but it's growing fast. It brought in almost $12 million in 2025. This is their clear path to finally creating steady, reliable profit. So we end up right back where we started, but now with a brand new question. The Real Brokerage has proven it can grow. Man, has it proven that? That's not up for debate anymore. The critical question now, the multi-billion-dollar question, is can it turn all that scale into lasting, durable profit? Can it build a real economic fortress around its business before all the competitors start copying its playbook? That's the story we'll all be watching.